Today, I have decided to share my burdens with all the long-serving presidents of Africa. The following are acting as examples. Teodoro Obiang Nguema, the president of Equatorial Guinea. Denis Sassou Nguesso, the president of Congo. Paul Biya Bivondo, the president of the Cameroon. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of Uganda. Ishaz Afwerki, the president of Eritrea. Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, to mention but a few. Before I share my burdens to these great men of the day, I take this opportunity to appreciate them for all what they are doing in this continent of Africa. My heroes, I appreciate you for your love and care, for your casual works, for your hard works, for your sacrifices, for your sleepless nights, and your struggles against the forces of tyranny, oppression, and exploitation of this continent of Africa by our fellow brothers and sisters from Europe, America, and Asia. I really appreciate you. The fact is, thank you for delivering some peace, some democracy, some freedom, some progress, and little unity. And in fact, if I could afford gold medals, I would take this opportunity to crown you with gold medals of leadership because of your great contributions to the progress of this continent of Africa. However, God has sent me with a message to you all who are in the evening hours of the day. God has sent me to remind you of one thing which you have forgotten. God has sent me to remind you of a visitor who comes without being invited, a visitor who does not wait for an invitation card, a visitor who does not inform when he is coming. The visitor I'm talking about, the visitor visits all categories of people. When he decides to visit, he visits both the female and the male, the poor and the rich, the young and the old, the non-educated and educated, the ruled and the rulers, the led and the leaders, the unarmed and the armed, the queens and the kings, the governors, the presidents, the popes, the priests, pastors, shepherds, sheep, and the pagans, all in the same manner, without making an appointment. However, it is well known to the whole world that whenever a person reaches your age bracket, the visitor is soon visiting him or her. And what pains me a lot is the dangerous principle of the visitor, that whenever he visits you, he has to go with you. Even with the intervention of the best doctors in the world, they cannot stop him from going with you. He will go with you. The visitor I'm talking about has caused a lot of pain to my life because of his dangerous principle of visiting and going with the person he has visited. He visited my great friend, Marcus Garvey. He went with him. He visited my friend, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He did not leave him. He went with him. He visited my friend, Malcolm X. He went with him. He did not stop there. He came to Africa. He visited my forefather, Kwame Nkrumah. He went with him. He visited my friend, Nelson Mandela. He did not leave him. He went with him. He visited my great friend, Patrice Emery Lumumba. He went with him. He did not stop there. He did not stop there. Recently, he visited my great friend, the bulldozer of the world, John Pombe Magufuli. He did not spare him. He did not spare him. He went with him. He went with him. Recently, he did not stop there. He came to Uganda. He visited my brother, Jacob Olanya. He went with him. The fact is, this visitor I'm talking about is a principled man. If he visits you, he will not leave you. He will go with you. However, the visitor I'm talking about is a principled man. There is no amount of money which can bribe him. If he has decided to visit you, he has to go with you. I remind you what? Recently, he visited the Queen of England. I thought because the Queen was seen as the demigod of the world, he would not go with her. I tell you what, he went with her. He went with her. Therefore, the fact is, whenever darkness catches light, I'm not at peace with myself. God does not allow me to rest. He has sent me to remind you the existence of this vista known as death. And to tell you that he is not happy with the way you are representing him here in Africa. That do not forget that you are human beings. You are not demigods. Death is coming for you. So you wish Africa the best in your absence by creating room for the next generational leadership to govern in your presence. So you take leave and form the African Elders Council, whose duty and responsibility would be to advise the next generational leadership on the finer points of governance. As a patriot, a Pan-Africanist, and a victim of the 1884 Berlin Conference, I'm worried and not happy of the kind of Africa you are leaving behind. If the visitor decides to visit you now, I see the Africa without elders. The Africa where brothers are going to kill brothers because of power. The Africa full of poverty. The Africa where the gun is going to be the music playing in every corner. That is the Africa I foresee in your absence. Therefore today, I take this opportunity to remind, to request, to appeal, and to pray to you all that today, tonight, when you're going to your beds, try to think and foresee the suffering of African child in your absence. Please try to have mercy for the next Africa's generation. Be reminded, we already have enemies. The Europeans are looking at us. The Americans are looking at us. And the serious ones today are the Chinese. They are planning for the means of destroying our continent. Please feel mercy to Africa's next generation. As I conclude, as always I do, I'm going to tell a story. The story I'm going to tell is not a new story. This story has been told by very many different public speakers in very many different platforms. The story about a great king who ever lived before the birth of Jesus Christ. The story about Alexander the Great. It is said of Alexander the Great that It was so great to the extent that it was almost conquering the whole world. And the keys to his treasury were too heavy to the extent that they could only be carried by the horses. It is also said of him that he had the strongest army in the world, and he loved traveling, and that one day on his way back to Athens, his home village, he fell ill and it took him to his deathbed. And while on his deathbed, he called all his generals and said this to them: I will depart on this world very soon, but I have 3 wishes. Please carry them without fail. My first desire is that my doctors alone must carry my coffin. My second desire is that when my coffin is being taken to the grave, the path leading to the graveyard be strewn with gold, silver, precious stone, and all the monies I have collected in my treasury. My third and last desire is that both my hands be kept dangling out of my coffin. Then Alexander's favorite general asked, O king, we assure you that all your wishes will be put in place. But tell us, why are you making such strange wishes? Then Alexander the Great said like this: I would like also the whole world to know of the 3 lessons I have just learned. I want my doctors to carry my coffin, because people should realize that no doctor on earth can cure anybody. They are powerless. They cannot save you whenever death comes. So let people not take life for granted. My second wish of strewing gold, silver, precious stones, and all other riches to the path leading to the graveyard. I want the whole world to know that not even a fraction of gold will go with me. I spent all my life greed for power, earning riches, but cannot take anything with me. Let people realize that it is a sheer waste of time to chase for wealth. And for my third wish of leaving my hands dangling out of my coffin is that I want the whole world to know that I came into this world empty-handed, and empty-handed I go out of this world. Bury my body. Do not build any monuments. Keep my hands dangling, so that the whole world knows that the person who owned this world had nothing in his hands while dying. And with the above words, the king closed his eyes. Soon he let death conquer him, and he breathed his last. And the message to all African leaders who are in the evening hours of the day is that no matter how great you are, no matter how many soldiers you move with, no matter how rich you are, no matter how many doctors you have on planet Earth, you are still going to die, and you will live with nothing. So create room for the next generation leaders of Africa to govern in your presence. Thank you for listening. May God bless you.